I'll explain to you the first components of a web page and the code behind it. With no further ado, let's click once on it, right click, and edit the page. This is what you're going to see most of the times in a standard XHTML page. This is the minimum amount of code which usually you can see it. If I am going back to the browser in which I already loaded the page, we'll see that there is no text whatsoever. What we can see instead is the name of the file that we have, index.html, and the fact that we have a name for the page, XHTML CSS my first page. Well, this is the very first example. Go back to the code, and here it is. This is the title of the page. This title is actually using one of the many tags you will learn to use throughout this course. And also, yes, you heard me use the word tag. This is how we are going to refer to these parts of code. For instance, title has a start tag and an end tag. But we'll discuss about this a little bit further on. For now, I'll just explain the code that we see here and how we're going to use it, and that should be just fine for us. Okay, the first line is XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. Basically, this code of line tells to the browser the type of document encoding, basically the way that the document should be handled. Most of the times you'll only need to copy paste this line. If you really want to know furthermore about this tag, you can always search online for more documentation. But for now, this is all that you need to know, and just copy paste it whenever you create a new document. The second line of code, it's the doc type declaration. Basically, this tag, what it does, it tells to the document that we are using a doc type declaration, which we're going to see here. It's DTD. Most of the times you'll hear about this term, and it's a doc type declaration, XHTML 1.0, transitional, and English, and can be found as a reference to this web address online. Okay, what does actually mean to us? Well, basically, the doc type declaration, in our case XHTML 1.0 transitional, it's a collection of tags. You remember the tag? I told you, something like title, or for instance head, which has a start and an heading tag. Basically, these are parts of the code. They're a part of the doc type declaration. Basically, it's a bunch of code lines, like 80, 100 or more, that make part from this declaration. Well, why exactly? We may have other type of declaration like HTML 4.0 or 4.1 or XHTML strict, for instance. And yes, there are a couple of differences between of them. For now, we're not going to discuss what the difference are between the declaration type, but just so you know, once you're using a doc type declaration, you need to take a look online and see what are the tags declared within that doc type declaration, so your code would be valid and you'll make sure you have no errors. That's about it with the doc type declaration. So most of the time, just copy paste, and that's it. You're using it. Okay, on the third line, we have a HTML tag. As you can see, it has also a start tag and an end tag. The HTML tag basically it's the root of the document in our case. It's the tag that contains the rest of the tags. As we can see, everything else, head, title, body, it's a part of HTML. And also it tells to the browser that this is an HTML document and should be treated as such. Then again, just copy paste whatever you see here, and there you go, you have it. Okay, on the fourth line, sorry, we have the head tag. Sorry. Well, the head tag, it's the header of the document, and it contains all the header information that we could possibly place within a document, such as title. As we already seen, the title in action is the title of the page. The header can also contain meta references to files such as CSS. It can contain scripts. It can contain meta declarations such as keywords or description of the website. These are a couple of tags which we will going to discuss further on and see the use of them. Of course, as I already said, head tag has a starting tag and an end tag. And the last tag we're going to discuss as a minimum requirement for every XHTML standard page is the body. Of course, it has a starting tag and an end tag. The body tag contains all content of the page, and this is the content that usually you see render within the page. For instance, let's type in something. This is my first text. We save it, then we go back to the browser and refresh it. This is my first text. Just so you know, in my case I used Ctrl R or Ctrl F5 to refresh the web page. I'm bad because I forgot to use the navigation bar. My bad. There you go. Reload the page. And that's it. This is your first text. So you see, this is where you will place most of the content in terms of images, text, external links, internal links, and so forth. Now we've seen what are the minimum requirements for an XHTML standard web page. We also took a first glance of the namings that we're going to use throughout the service, like tags and DTD, and also seen and learned a couple of shortcuts to use, which will come in handy. With this new knowledge at hand, let's move forward, shall we?